Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. We're going to be doing a correction video on the WWE Survivor Series 2017 full show preview. We had a title change this week on SmackDown. Charlotte Flair, she was able to win the championship back from Natalya. Honestly, in my mind, I really thought that this was going to be done at Starrcade. When Starrcade was first announced, I was hoping that it was going to be a WWE Network special. I honestly thought it was. I thought that's why they were doing it. But it ended up just being a house show. It's not going to be on television. I know one of my friends that annually goes to WrestleMania. He bought a ticket. He's going to be going to the show. I'm glad that I'm not the only one that bought into the hype, realizing how good of a show this was going to be. I'm really hyped for Starrcade, and you got a bull rope match. You've got freaking the Rock and Roll Express gonna be there. I still buy in. I still think it's going to be a really good one. But in my mind, when it was first announced and they said that Natalya was going to be wrestling against Charlotte Flair, I said this is where you do the title change. This is where you bring back Ric Flair. You have the moment where Flair comes out to congratulate Charlotte. Not only are you able to see Ric Flair for the first time, but Flair's able to be there and congratulate Charlotte Flair the first time she wins the SmackDown Women's World, is it the SmackDown Women's World Heavyweight Championship, or is it just the SmackDown's Women's Championship? I'm not sure. It could go either way, but maybe they might not be wanting to label, the girls as heavyweights. But I think that this is still going to be a really good match. Charlotte going in there, wrestling against Alexa Bliss. They basically were traded for each other during the last. They didn't call it a brand split or a draft. They called it the. What did they call the last one where they moved people around? Superstar Shakeup, I think is what it was. I thought it was good because, you didn't have the names jumbling around like a jukebox or like a slot machine. It took the stupidity out of it. You just sort of had people showing up I guess like they were sort of drafted, but it was almost like they were sort of signed as free agents and brought over because they knew it would make their show better. Charlotte ran through everybody on the Monday Night Raw side when she was champion. Her moving over to SmackDown freshened her up. And honestly, when you look at Alexa Bliss, she beat a lot of people on SmackDown when she was champion, and her moving her over, I thought was sort of going to fizz her out. I mean, so many times over the history of times, we've seen people on SmackDown move to Raw, and it's sort of, they're not as over as they were on the other show. I mean, it happened to John Morrison, it happened to Edge, guys that were sort of World Heavyweight Champions of SmackDown were brought over to Raw, and they were sort of treated like they were a little bit better than the mid-card, but not good enough to be the main event. And it just got them sort of pigeonholed in a spot where nothing really important happened with them. I mean, they might use them in a main event if it was like a fatal four-way or something like that to even it out, but they were never that main guy in the championship picture. Honestly, when I think about this, when it was Natalya against Alexa, I thought that Alexa was going to get the win. I think that Charlotte has to get the win here, and I'm wondering if her putting the figure 4 onto Alexa would weaken her up enough in order to have Carmella run in and do the cash-in, which I still think was going to happen. James Ellsworth, with him getting his release from the company today, I think, basically it opens up the door for her to move. It kills off all loose ends. Her having the Money in the Bank, the rules are never really officially written. Anything can go down with that thing. Anybody who thinks you can't cash in, basically, Dolph Ziggler, what happened? He was when Dolph Ziggler was the Money in the Bank guy, I think he was on SmackDown, and he had a match with Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler had the ladder match at TLC with John Cena, who was a Raw guy, unless I'm way off on my times, in that, you know, it would have jumped hands that way. So, whatever. Maybe I'll make my own video on Ellsworth, but, you know, tip your hat to that guy. His run in WWE honestly lasted a lot longer than I thought it was going to when I first saw him showing up. You know, the guy, you know, won Carmella the Money in the Bank, was Carmella's girlfriend. He was in WWE for, well, he was at TLC. TLC was in December, so that run probably started a month before. So he made it last about a year of good paydays. So you got to tip your hat to that guy. He was even tweeting on Twitter. He might have known then, but he knew that the end was coming soon. And even if he would have not got released today with him breaking up with Carmella, you know, if he did continue his run with WWE, he wasn't really going to be going anywhere. I mean, he's a guy you can't really put in singles matches. If you go back and remember what happened with Brad Maddox, you can find a spot to use him, like as a authority figure or something, but those spots are pretty much all spoken up for right now, and I'm not sure really what girl you can put him with to have another sort of managerial role on the roster.